Hello, um, I'm Benji. How do I start this video off? Well, I just want to clarify that this channel or videos that I'm gonna make, in the future, hopefully, are more just diary slash late night talks and rants. So please don't get the idea that I'm doing this for fame or I don't know, for clout. I'm not really doing this. I'm expecting no one to watch these types of videos. This is songs getting too loud. Yeah, I'm not expecting really, anything from this. I'm just more venting slash rambling slash. I'm not trying to give advice, but I'm just trying to get more of my, how do I say this? Not story, but more of my own experiences out there, just cause I want to. Like I said, this is not for fame or anything like that, but this is just like late night talks with me personally. And like I said, I don't expect anyone to really watch this video or these videos. This is more for me and me only. But hi, I'm Benji. I'm 19 years old. It's my first video on this channel, hopefully, and I hope whoever's watching this or who's gonna watch it maybe will enjoy. This is called Late Night Talks with Benji, and tonight it is September 15th, 12 at midnight to be exact. And tonight, what we are listening to tonight, by the way, is the new 21 Pilots album, Reach. My brother bought me for this for my early birthday yesterday. And yeah, this is what we're vibing to tonight. Side B to be exact. Let's get into discussions, I guess. So, tonight, what I really wanted to ramble about tonight, I'm so sorry, I'm still having a rebel. Fun fact, I guess I'm kind of a energy drink addict to an extent, kind of drink it daily, kind of not. It really just depends, But yeah, tonight, what I really wanted to talk about, I guess, was you can change. You can change now. And it's okay to change. I was at some point in my life, well, still kind of am at that point, where it was after I graduated from high school. I was going to take a gap year from school, because I was like, college isn't for me, I'm going to just work and gain money and just that's it. Work on myself, quote unquote, and just gain money, hang out with friends, this and that. And let me tell you, I did work. I worked a bunch. Little background on what I did. I worked as a handyman, I remodeled houses with my dad, and we would wake up around like 6 in the morning, drive an hour or two to work, and then just remodel houses wherever my dad would tell me. I would never really question anything, because of course I don't care. As long as I get paid for it, I don't mind. And I did that for the whole gap year. And while doing that, I also was going to do this thing where I was going to post on my art account. And I still do that. I don't do that as often anymore, even though I should, to be honest. It's been a while since I last posted on that. And if you want to follow that, it's Paint Randoms on Instagram. So if you want to check that out. I will hopefully paint something new eventually. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, and I was also doing that, I was working, painting for my art account, trying to keep up, this and that. And I was doing great. Everything was going well in the beginning. But then the past finally caught up to me, because while doing that, I fell into a depressive state where all I did was work, paint, sleep, work, paint, sleep, and I just didn't feel like anything. And so I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't really tell my parents anything. I didn't tell, anyone of my friends, even though they're my friends. And if I needed help or guidance, I could just ask them. But I just didn't know how to do that because I grew up with my parents. And I'm not saying my parents are terrible. They did great. I love them to death. And I'm glad that they raised me the best that they could. And they did a good job. It's just seeing my dad. I look up to my dad a bunch. And seeing how he handled his emotions. I didn't see how he handled his emotions because, I grew up with that mentality that men can't feel emotions, or they don't cry or this and that. So when it came to that point in my life, in high school, middle school, I always ignored my emotions because, I always had things to do. But, after high school, during work and during pain, I had a lot of time to think and reflect. And I didn't know how to handle those emotions because I was like, I don't know what to do. So I came to my senses and I was like, all right, I need therapy. And that's what I did. I told my parents I was going to do therapy. It was a little discouraging at first because my dad, kind of was confused at the idea of like why I needed therapy. Because of course he's old school and, I don't blame him, of course. So he just didn't really understand the idea. My mom was okay with it, When I told her about this in the past, though, she was, she didn't really like the idea of it, but she was okay with it when I told her that I actually really needed it. Either way, I told my parents that I needed therapy. I was still working. I was still doing my art stuff, this and that. And then I went to therapy. And let me tell you, I really, really needed that. I went to therapy for a couple of months, and it made me realize a lot of things. It made me realize, oh my goodness, I have not been the greatest person to my friends, to my family. I've made jokes that are really, really terrible, to my friends, to family, and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I realized I had a huge ego. My pride is just, I learned a lot about myself. And so, I was like, all right, things, got to change. But I didn't do much to change that. I've acknowledged it, but I didn't do anything to change that per se. Also, I just want to let you guys know if you're hearing me talk about this stuff and then you're like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I kind of expect that, that none of this really makes sense because I don't really have organized thoughts per se. That's why this is just a rambling type of thing. But I'll try to make sense, but we'll see. But yeah, I've acknowledged my mistakes in the past, but I did nothing to change it. So I just kept on doing what I was doing, which was just, living, but doing nothing about these past mistakes or changing. So I just kept living and then came to a point, and I'm a huge overthinker. So, of course, with that stuff, I just kept overthinking every single day. My thoughts were so loud. I didn't really, I couldn't think of just anything. So even with therapy, I still, didn't really give the chance to change. And I didn't really change as much as I should have during that time. So I just didn't do anything. I just kept doing my thing, working, painting, stuff like that. And then came to the point where I couldn't really stand my thoughts. And then I was like, okay, I should face these mistakes that I've made in the past and apologize to the people I've hurt. And that's what I did. I first apologized to a person that I really cared about a long time ago, but we weren't talking because life separates. But I've made a mistake that hurt them, and I just apologized to them. But I was overthinking like crazy. I'm like, why am I apologizing to this person? They're gonna respond saying, oh, why did you do that then, this and that, or like I expected them to not like the message, I guess, or my apology, because rightfully so, I've hurt them, and I didn't really expect them to be like, oh, I forgive you. But to my surprise, they said that they did forgive me. And then I was like, oh, I didn't expect this. And she showed such kindness throughout her message too. And she also apologized to me, which was super, super weird. I didn't expect that, honestly, because I was overthinking the whole entire time. And then after that, I apologized to a friend that I've heard too. We're still best friends, of course. But, I've heard them multiple times in the past, and I've chose to ignore apologizing to them. Dick move, I know. But, I've always chose to avoid things rather than face them. But even so, they treated me with such kindness, and they were nice enough to just wait. And they even specified no matter what I do, they'll wait for me as a friend, and they'll forgive me no matter what, as long as I face my actions and consequences. They'll still forgive me. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that message too, because I was like overthinking it like crazy. I was like, I was just overthinking it like insane, because I was like, they're not gonna like this message, this and that. But yeah, they treated it's just kindness everywhere. And then that just made me think, I need to change now, because I'm like, I don't want to be this type of person anymore, that keeps making terrible mistakes left and right. And I want to know peace. But it was weird, because after I apologized to people that I've hurt, after that, I've gained peace of mind. Like, literally, there was no voices in my head overthinking. It's going to sound so cringy, bro. But yeah, there was just no voices in my head. Like, I always overthink I kind of do still. But back then, I would overthink like crazy every single day, 7 days a week, 24 hours. And yeah, it just, thoughts would rush through my mind every single day. Thoughts would rush through my head every single day. And I would just live with it. I didn't really do much to change it or anything like that, because I thought that I didn't deserve like forgiveness or kindness because of the mistakes I did in the past. So yeah, when I apologized to everyone, well, I wouldn't say everyone, when I apologized to people that I hurt, I received just emptiness in my mind. I didn't overthink for weeks, and it was really weird, because after that, I went to an orientation for college. Yeah, because I went back to college after like a gap year. I was like, let's try college, it won't hurt to try, except for money, but I figured that out, so we're good. But yeah, I was like, let's go and see how college goes, And so I went, and I think it was throughout the orientation, you had to meet people, you had to talk to people. I mean, that was optional, of course. You don't have to. And while I was there, I got anxious and nervous, and then I was like, what am I nervous/anxious about? Because I'm like, I'm not overthinking about like my friendships or my past or anything like that. What am I overthinking about? And then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm anxious/nervous about this whole college thing. And it was crazy to me. It blew my mind, because I'm like, I've never been nervous about this type of thing, because I would always think about other things rather than the present, So I was just baffled that I was like nervous about, the orientation in that very moment, because I'm never nervous in that moment, because I'm nervous about things. I'm nervous/anxious about the things I did in the past, or my past mistakes, that when I was in that present moment, I realized I'm nervous about right now rather than the past. And it just blew my mind, because I was like, that's never happened to me in years. because I'm never nervous about in present situations. And it was just insane. I was like, oh my goodness, like, I've changed to an extent. I actually took the first step. And so I just want to let you guys know, especially young men, look, men my age, of course, and women too. I don't, say, oh, women also don't have depression, this and that. Everyone has, well, I wouldn't say everyone has it, but people have it, humans have that. Don't be scared to change. Don't be scared to go to therapy. Don't be scared to ask for help. There is light at the end of the tunnel. This sounds so cringy, I'm sorry. But, a lot can happen if you just ask for help. A lot can change if you ask for help. A lot can change if you take that first step. Because that's what it's done for me. Because now I'm at peace with myself at the moment, Because I'm still in that mindset of like, oh, something bad has to happen to me. There's no way like I can be in peace for this long. Yeah. Right now, like, my health isn't at 100%, of course. I'm literally drinking a Red Bull at 12:15 at midnight, doing homework for my Japanese class for college. But it's really fun to me now. Now that I'm not overthinking about my past, it's super fun to me. I'm at peace. I'm actually feel like I'm having purpose again. It's important for you to have those tough conversations with your friends, with your family, because it helps you realize what you either need to change, or helps you realize that they're people too, you're a human too, and that mistakes are always made. We're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect, but we can always change. We can always improve. And I've been lacking. I've been lacking for sure. And I've been struggling a little bit. But I finally decided now to make that change again, where I need to be on top of things. I need to start working out again. I need to start eat healthier. I need to start studying more. I need to start creating more art, because I have not made art in a fat minute, let me tell you what. But I want to make that change for me. And also, I want to look myself in the mirror and be like, that's who I want to be. I want to be a better person for me, for my family, and hopefully for my future kids, for my future wife. And yeah. What else do I really want to talk about? I guess that's really it for now, I want to talk about like subjects kind of like this, especially like romance, technically love, friendships, and maybe like the difficult topics like lust and stuff like that, because I've also struggled with stuff like that. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is you can change. All it takes is one little step for you to change. And it can be a really, really small step. For my step, it was going to therapy and talking about my feelings and technically my past stuff. It made me realize what needed to change. Therapy is really an eye-opener. You have to really go in with an open mind and be ready to talk about some stuff that you don't really want to talk about, of course. But it really, really helps you realize what you need to change. So please don't be afraid to change. It's a part of life. And that change could be great. I think that's it. Like I said, I'm Benji. I don't really expect people to watch my stuff, especially since it's like probably like a 20-minute rant. And so, yeah, like I said, it's okay to change. Embrace the change, Enjoy the challenge. Enjoy the unknown. And yeah, that's it.